This is the part I love, just because I love saying this word. So what we want to do is give them brain candy. This is your goal. You want to give your audience brain candy, which is like if you say things to trigger someone's curiosity, like, that's an interesting fact. I didn't know that. Or you're building up suspense and creating an ending that is really satisfying and rewarding to hear. Those storytelling components give your audience a dopamine release. So that's that like feel-good chemical in our brains. And if you're listening to someone on camera who's vulnerable, or when we feel like we can relate to them, or we can empathize with them, those components to a story is actually releasing oxytocin in their brain, that hug drug that is what bonds mother and baby. Neuroscientists say that these chemicals are also triggering our hippocampus, which is the part of the brain that stores our memories. So very important, your audience remembers you. And if you're incorporating all of these components in your stories that are triggering the dopamine and the oxytocin, you are building trust and empathy, which, as you know, those are the foundational pillars for giving. So for nonprofits, those two things are huge. How can you achieve this, right? First off, we have to stop telling stories and really start thinking about planning out your storytelling path. So I see a lot of people doing this and kind of doing it wrong. So I really want to break this down. When you're telling stories, you're kind of just recalling events, right? You're like, oh, this happened. And then, so you're using a lot of past tense. And when we write for TV shows or when you're writing for any persuasive reason, you want to use active tense. You're not wasting time with helping verbs. You're speaking actively. Your writing is not passive. You're not saying, we've been doing this for the community. No, we do this, right? So writing matters. You want to be very active tense and not passive. We don't realize it as listeners, but we sort of tune out after a while if people are using a lot of past tense, because we're like, oh, that happened before. No, it's happening right now. When you're telling stories, you don't use a roadmap, making sure all of those components are really being triggered. Storytelling is that intentional, strategic way of developing a story arc using those things that I just told you, the suspension, the tension, the vulnerability. That is what's going to take your audience on a journey. Triggering emotion is key, but I also want to add, because some people kind of get tripped up in this, remember, you see a lot of people that you're helping with your nonprofits that are struggling. And yes, we need to get people, your audience, to feel that so they care, but it's not all doom and gloom. The last thing you want is like your followers opening up their Facebook feed and being like, oh, it's so depressing every time I see, So you do want that mix. Like when you got the van, and that was a very exciting, Mountain Valor just was awarded this van, so Kat shared happiness and joy and excitement on the page. So you want to make sure that you're mixing that up. So I'm just making sure I'm not just saying, make sure you're trudging through this, obviously there's this whole mix of emotions. Some people kind of get caught up in that, like Sarah McLachlan music is playing every time they are starting to write their post. You're not focusing just on the features of your nonprofit. You're focusing on the feelings. So when you're trying to get people to feel your story, that's when they're going to fund your cause.